Oh, I need to remove the placeholder text on the Anubis homepage.
Yeah,
Oops.
yeah. I did want to talk about that as well. So if we go to
Sure.
the Anubis homepage right now, and people have pointed this out before, they're like, some of this stuff that's written here doesn't make a ton of sense.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously the original logo, which people are like, is the logo AI generated? And that's why are you making a tool that's against AI if you AI generate the logo? It's just like the way that I understood it from the very start is you never expected this to become popular, and then it just suddenly is.
Yeah. In retrospect, that was a big mistake, and I regret it, and I am changing how I do things from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I am actually like I do know how to art. I do photography. I I actually started doing photography because of Stable Diffusion existing, but
Okay.
in the future, I'm probably going to be using like abstract, terrible swirls or something as placeholder logos until I can. And if something takes off, then I'll commission a human.
Right.
Definitely what I'm going to do for Yeet. Oh, I love Yeet.
What is Yeet?
It started out as a deployment tool
Uh-huh.
because Yeet is a great verb for to deploy. Like just yeet that sucker into prod. What could go wrong?
Uh-huh.
But I made it because I wanted something that's like halfway between a shell script and halfway between writing bespoke logic in a high-level programming language.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote something that wraps a bunch of common things that I did in shell script in Go, and then hooked it all up to a JavaScript interpreter.
Uh,
And it works way better than it has any right to.
so you want to go over that one more time? What were you said a common things you do in shell script wrapped
Yeah.
in Go.
Actually, I'll link you
What?
an example Yeet file.
Okay,
One sec. Let
sure.
me find Anubis's Yeet file because that's a decently complicated one. But one of the things that I hooked it up to is package building. There. I linked it to you and you can put it in the show notes or something. But
Okay, sure.
uh, there's a couple things that are important to this.
Uh,
And number one is the $sign function. And the $sign function, when you pass it a template string in JavaScript, it will just run that as a shell command.
mhm.
And anytime you do a variable insertion, it'll shell escape it and inject it into the string.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So, like for this one, we say for each architecture that Anubis supports and each packaging method that we've shipped with, build the package with this name, this description, this homepage, the license, the architecture that it's building for, some documentation files, and then a build function which executes with the some automatically generated temporary paths and then uses that to assemble the package in the right place.
Hmm.
It is amazingly terrible, and I love it. I
What?
mean, like,
Why
it's
does
great
this? Why is this a thing? Why? Why not use
because
any other off-the-shelf thing for doing the same thing?
I looked at things that are off the shelf, and this is actually based off of NFPM, which is something that was off the shelf and
What
had really good Go
the
libraries.
hell is
But I needed it to be a
NFPM?
little bit more programmable, and I didn't want to write bespoke programs, so I wrote Yeet.
Sorry. Okay, NFPM.
NFPM. It's basically a TLDR. TLDR. You give it a YAML document that
Ah.
establishes what files go where and what type of files they are, and then it shits out packages.
Okay.
It just makes an RPM, it makes a deb, it makes a Arch Linux package, it makes
Mm.
an APK for Alpine. I think they do IPK for what's it called?
Fuck is an
What is
IP?
IPK for?
What is an IP? I'm learning a lot today. What the hell is an
Oh,
IPK?
Open Embedded, right? OpenWRT.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, at least this is something I'm aware exists and not some other system that I just suddenly learn about.
I mean, I have been told that I am a accumulator of cursed knowledge.
Hey, look,
Like
it seems
there's
like
a
at
bunch of
least
cursed shit in here.
for the build script here, the cursed knowledge has been put to use.
Oh yeah, like a lot of Yeet's package building stuff was originally inspired by Nix.
Mm.
Although I wanted something that was like halfway between suffering and misery, so I made Yeet,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and that's a great place for it to be, halfway between suffering and misery.
I can never escape Nix no matter where I go.
Yeah, I used to be a big user, but I'm not anymore.
Mm-hmm. You have other things to spend your time on.
Like fighting bots and Final Fantasy 14. Oh god, it's such a great game. Don't play it.
I played till the end of Endwalker. I haven't played Dawn Trail
Uh,
yet.
yeah, I started at the end of January when I got sick, and I'm at about 420 hours now.
I don't want
It is a
to.
vice.
I don't want to say how many hours are on my account when I stopped playing. I know it was. I
It
know it
got
was
you bad.
over. I know it was over 30 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
White Mage is too much fun.
I like the I like my healer queues. I can't play anything besides healer.
Oh, especially with Oceania. Oh, the Oceania
I
servers are
play
so bad.
I play US servers just because I don't want to deal with the Oceania servers.
Fair enough.
I used to play JP
But
back when I first started.
the main reason why Anubis has been kind of slow is because some assholes I know nerd sniped me with Final Fantasy 14.
Right. Right.
I'm getting better at it. I've been working on some bigger features, but
Mm-hmm.
that is the biggest like reason why things are slower than I'd have liked.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying before that you have a background in generative AI. So what is it? Can you explain more of like what it's like being in this position where you have that background and you're also working on a tool to like slow down these AI tools? Because I know you've described it as kind of like a
Doublethink.
hypocritical double thing, things like that. I've heard other people discuss the idea, saying I don't really understand why you feel that way. But like, what is your general perception here?
So the two main halves of the doublethink are this technology is cool, and like you can take this vague description of an FFmpeg command and
Mhm.
it'll just give you the command, and like 90% of the time it'll work.
Mhm.
Or the other 10% of the time something will just barely be off, and you can either go for another round or just check the docs and realize that it typoed something in a video filter.
Mhm.
And you're off to the races. And then the other side that's like kind of anti it is holy fuck the people, because like the culture of taking that it encourages, and the like for everything that it gives it takes so much more.
Mhm. Mhm.
I When I do stuff like Mimi runs on a model that could feasibly run on a machine that I could have at home.
Okay.
It runs on, I think it's Hermes 370B at FP at like int 4 quantization. For context, a 70 billion parameter model is about the smallest baseline good size,
Mhm.
and it being at int 4 quantization means that each weight is only 4 bits instead of 16. So instead of it only requires about like 43 gigabytes of video memory to run instead of many gigabytes of video RAM to run.
Only 43 gigabytes.
Yeah. And if I do run it at home, it's going to be on like a 64 gig Mac Mini or something.
Right.
Or I'm going to just give up and buy one of those M3 Ultra Mac Studios with 512 gigs of RAM and pay the Canada tax on that. Oh god. That's going to be like a 16 grand machine.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah. No, I
It
live
is
in
an
Australia.
unholy
I know
abomination.
exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, I did the calculation in Australian for a friend of mine, and they were like, that does not make sense. How? And I'm like, welcome to big data.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a really weird situation to be in, because like, I don't really use generative AI for a lot of things. Like I disabled it in my editor because I found that I was becoming reliant on it, and
What editor do you use?
I was starting to let my coding ability suffer. And I built that up my entire career, and that scared me. So, not in my editor.
Yeah, what
It's,
which editor do you use?
I used to use Emacs. I had a very customized Emacs setup.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started getting RSI symptoms. So now and then I started to learn this thing called cursorless.
Okay.
And cursorless is an extension to VS Code. And
Okay.
it basically gives you spoken Vim powers in VS Code at the AST level instead of at the like line or character level. And that was really neat. And then I just started using VS Code from there and just used VS Code basically everywhere, because then I have the configuration synced with their configuration syncing magic, and I don't have to think about it. But my Emacs config was about 20 kilobytes of handwritten Emacs Lisp, which is a lot for the record.